Welcome to the Heartbreak Chronicles, where every story is a raw reflection of life. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned, give us a like to show your support, and share this episode with your friends. Don't forget to leave a comment and let us know what you think. Now, let's dive into today's story. In the bustling city of San Francisco, Oliver is a Silicon Valley software engineer with a successful career. On the surface, he has an enviable and fulfilling life. He has two lovely children with his wife Mia, a luxury goods saleswoman. However, underneath this seemingly perfect surface, their marriage has long been riddled with holes and on the verge of collapse. Mia is polished on the outside, but inside she is filled with an insatiable desire to live a life of luxury. She's in an incestuous relationship with Oliver's brother Ethan. Ethan is a real estate mogul who calls the shots in San Francisco's real estate world and is able to provide Mia with the lavish lifestyle she has always dreamed of. To maintain this secret relationship, Mia skillfully manipulates Oliver into believing that both children are her own. Thus, Oliver pays for Mia and Ethan's extravagant lifestyle without complaint, oblivious to the fact that he is being cheated. Oliver is busy working every day, trying to make a better life for his family. He often works late into the night just so he can fulfill Mia's insatiable thirst for luxury. Whenever he returns home with a tired body and sees the happy smiles of his wife and children, he feels that all the hard work is worthwhile. However, he didn't realize how many harsh truths were hidden behind those smiles. Mia, on the other hand, often rendezvoused with Ethan when Oliver wasn't home. She's so caught up in the excitement and luxury Ethan brings her that she completely ignores Oliver's genuine feelings for her. She even begins to resent Oliver's mediocrity and his inability to fulfill her desire for a quality life. This went on for years until one day the gears of fate began to turn. It was a normal weekend and Oliver was supposed to be working late, but he finished his work early and decided to surprise his wife. He buys Mia's favorite flowers and wine and returns home elated. What awaited him, however, was a nightmare scenario. Pushing open the bedroom door, Oliver sees a scene that breaks his heart. Mia is lying intimately in bed with Ethan. In that moment, Oliver felt his world fall apart. He stood frozen in the doorway, the flowers and wine in his hands slamming heavily on the floor. Mia and Ethan are awakened by the sudden noise and see Oliver standing there with shock and pain written all over his face. The next scene was like a terrible nightmare. Oliver confronts Mia, who shows no remorse and instead accuses Oliver of not being able to fulfill her needs. During the heated argument, more truth is revealed. Both children turn out to be Ethan's, not Oliver's. This fact was like a sharp dagger, stabbing Oliver hard in the heart. Oliver felt completely betrayed. All his years of dedication and sacrifice had become meaningless in this moment. Anger, sadness, and despair mingled together, almost consuming him. He can't accept that his beloved wife and proud children have turned out to be one big lie. Over the next few days, Oliver is in more pain than he's ever been in. He can't face this home full of lies and can't continue to live in this city. Every familiar corner conjures up painful memories for him. In the end, he made the difficult decision to leave this heartbreaking place and get away from everyone, including the two children he had once considered his own. Filled with anger and sadness, Oliver packed a simple bag and left San Francisco alone. He chose the deep mountains of Colorado where he hoped to heal his broken heart. Before leaving, he cut off contact with everyone, including his parents and friends. He needed time to digest the huge blow and to be alone to re-examine his life. And just like that, Oliver disappeared from everyone's sight. He lives a reclusive life deep in the mountains of Colorado, away from the world, trying to forget the pain of his past. However, even in the serenity of the mountains, the memories of those betrayals still follow him, often tormenting him in the dead of night. And in San Francisco, Mia and Ethan can finally be together in the open. But they soon realize that their extravagant lifestyle is unsustainable without Oliver's financial support. Ethan, for all his apparent splendor, is actually in debt. They begin to fight over money, and the sweetness they once had is gone. The two children were also greatly affected. They don't understand why their beloved father, Oliver, has suddenly left, and they can't accept Ethan as the real father who has suddenly appeared. The breakup of their families casts a shadow over their young minds and may affect them for the rest of their lives. And so, what once seemed like a perfect family falls apart in a sea of lies and betrayal. As Oliver searches for inner peace in the mountains, Mia and Ethan are caught up in the reality of the situation, and two innocent children become the biggest victims of the tragedy. However, this is only the beginning of the story. The gears of fate are still turning and more dramatic twists and turns await them. While Oliver is away in San Francisco, a talented graphic designer named Sophia is working overtime on an important project on the other side of town. Sophia is not only a well-known designer in the industry, but also Oliver's ex-girlfriend. They had fallen in love during their college days, but broke up due to their respective career paths. Despite this, Sophia never really let go of her feelings for Oliver. By chance, Sophia reads about Oliver's divorce on social media. Her heart sank hard. Even though it had been years since the breakup, she could still feel the pain Oliver was going through. Out of concern, she begins to secretly inquire about how Oliver is doing. Through a series of investigations and inquiries, Sophia gradually pieces together what happened. She is shocked to realize that Oliver has suffered such a great betrayal. As someone who knows Oliver for who he is, Sophia is convinced that Oliver is innocent and that he shouldn't have to go through this pain alone. After learning that Oliver has left San Francisco, Sophia resolutely embarks on a journey to find him. She's convinced that Oliver needs to know the truth and needs someone on his side. The decision wasn't easy. She was going to have to drop her job and risk the possibility of getting hurt again to find someone who might not want to be found. Sophia's search is not going well. Oliver seems to have deliberately erased all traces of himself and is reluctant to contact anyone. But Sophia didn't give up. She used her contacts and resources to narrow down her search step by step. Finally, after nearly 6 months of searching, she found Oliver at a college in Boulder, Colorado. When Sophia first sees Oliver on campus, she barely recognizes him. Once spirited Silicon Valley engineers are now gaunt and vicissitudes of life. His eyes were filled with pain and confusion, as if he had lost his purpose in life. Sophia's heart is pierced deeply, and she becomes even more determined to help Oliver. Sophia approaches Oliver cautiously, afraid of scaring him. When Oliver recognizes Sophia, there's a flash of surprise in his eyes, followed by a return to his usual indifference. Sophia gently explains to Oliver what she's come for and pulls out all the evidence she's gathered to expose Mia's lies over the years. At first, Oliver is reluctant to believe Sophia. He'd been hurt too much to trust anyone else. But as Sophia patiently explains and shows more evidence, Oliver begins to waver. He slowly realizes that he is indeed innocent in his marriage and that it is Mia and Ethan who have been cheating on him. Meanwhile, Oliver's grandfather Walter, a discerning investment banker, discovers Mia's plot. Walter has always loved Oliver. When he learns that Oliver has suffered such a great betrayal, he feels both anger and remorse. He blames himself for not realizing the truth in time to protect Oliver in the first place. Walter is determined to make amends. He used his contacts and resources to dig deeper into Mia and Ethan's background. Soon, he discovers more shocking facts. Not only did Ethan commit numerous offenses in the real estate industry, but he was also suspected of money laundering and tax evasion. Mia, on the other hand, has been Ethan's accomplice, using her contacts in the luxury goods industry to provide cover for Ethan's illegal activities. Walter tells Sophia this information and entrusts her to pass it on to Oliver. For all he knew, Oliver might be more inclined to trust Sophia than himself, his grandfather, whom he hadn't seen in years. When Sophia tells Oliver about these new revelations, Oliver is both shocked and angry. He finally realized what a huge lie he had been living for years. But at the same time, he felt a slight sense of relief as he finally realized that he wasn't the one with the problem. Encouraged by Sophia and Walter, Oliver decides to take a DNA test to determine the children's paternity. Even though deep down he knew what the outcome would be, he needed a definitive answer to let go of the past once and for all. The test results come back soon after, confirming Oliver's worst fears. That the two children he's been treating as if they were his own are indeed Ethan's flesh and blood. The results stung Oliver's heart again like a sharp blade. Even though he had prepared himself mentally, The feeling of being lied to and betrayed when the truth was right in front of his eyes still hurt him. Oliver is in a deep state of self-blame and remorse. He begins to question whether he's really known Mia all these years and whether he's really done his duty as a husband. But Sophia was always there for him, giving him unconditional support and understanding. She tells Oliver that it's not his fault, that he's done enough, and that it's Mia who has failed him. Sophia's presence gives Oliver great comfort during this difficult time. Her strength and gentleness give Oliver renewed hope for life. He begins to realize that maybe leaving Mia wasn't entirely a bad thing. Maybe it was a chance to start over. However, as the truth is revealed, anger builds in Oliver's heart. He's determined to make Mia and Ethan pay for what they've done. He's no longer the same Oliver who was left to his own devices. He wants to take back everything that belongs to him, and he wants to make those who have hurt him taste the pain he deserves. And so, with Sophia's company and Walter's support, Oliver begins his plan for revenge. He knows that the road ahead is not smooth, but he has made up his mind to let justice be done and to fight for himself. And this, just the beginning of his new life? As the truth gradually emerges, the rage inside Oliver burns hotter and hotter. He decides that instead of being the weak man who is left to his own devices, he's going to make Mia and Ethan pay for what they've done. With Sophia's company and Walter's support, Oliver begins his plan for revenge. Oliver knows that anger alone will not be enough to defeat Mia and Ethan. He needed a well-thought-out plan and hard evidence. While working at Boulder University, Oliver befriended a computer security expert named Alex. Alex hears about Oliver's ordeal and sympathizes deeply with him, offering to help Oliver. At Alex's suggestion, Oliver begins to use his superior software skills to secretly gather evidence of Ethan and Mia's criminal behavior. He has developed a special software that tracks Ethan's business transactions and the flow of money. At the same time, he doesn't forget Mia's role in this conspiracy and carefully investigates her suspicious behavior in the luxury industry. The process is not easy. Oliver must be careful not to be spotted by Ethan and Mia. Every step is fraught with risk, and the slightest miscalculation could be the end of the road. But with Sophia by his side to encourage him, Oliver grows stronger. Sophia not only gave Oliver emotional support, but also utilized her contacts in the design community to help Oliver access some key information. Meanwhile, Walter hasn't been idle. Despite his serious illness, he still exerts his influence in the financial world to secretly thwart some of Ethan's business plans. He knows that to defeat Ethan once and for all, he must hit him hard financially. After months of hard work, Oliver finally gathered enough evidence to prove that Ethan had committed numerous violations in his real estate dealings, including money laundering, tax evasion, and bribery. Mia, on the other hand, was proven to be involved, using her connections in the luxury industry to provide cover for Ethan's illegal activities. Just as Oliver is about to turn the evidence over to law enforcement, Walter's condition suddenly deteriorates. At the end of his life, Walter amends his will, leaving all his property and company shares to Oliver. This decision is not only compensation for Oliver, but also Walter's recognition of Oliver's abilities. Oliver is devastated by the news of Walter's death. Though there had been a divide between them, Walter was, after all, one of his closest relatives. Comforted by Sophia, Oliver slowly calms down and decides he wants to fulfill Walter's dying wish to take over the family business. The day the will was published became a dramatic turning point, carefully orchestrated by the attorney. Everyone in the room is stunned when Oliver is announced as Walter's sole heir. Oliver's father, Randall, and Ethan were grimacing. How could they not expect Walter to make such a decision? Just as they were about to challenge the validity of the will, an even bigger blow followed. Oliver stands up and exposes Randall and Ethan's crimes in front of everyone. He presented detailed evidence that the two men had been conducting illegal transactions and money laundering activities for years. The whole room was thrown into chaos. Randall and Ethan try to weasel their way out of it, but their defense pales in the face of hard evidence. Police officers present at the scene took immediate action and arrested both men. Randall and Ethan were taken away with incredulity and anger written all over their faces, but more than that, fear of impending justice. It all happened so fast that Mia was totally unprepared. She stood frozen, watching her carefully woven dream crumble before her eyes. Without Ethan's financial support, she was immediately in trouble. The mansion, the fancy cars, the luxuries, the things she relies on to maintain her status will soon be lost. To make matters worse, she found out that she could face legal sanctions as well. Over the next few days, Mia had to move out of the mansion and into a small, run-down apartment. Her once proud social circle soon abandoned her, and her former friends shunned her. She begins selling her luxuries to make ends meet, but soon realizes that without Ethan's support, she simply can't maintain her previous standard of living. And Oliver, after this thrilling revenge, finally feels a touch of relief. He fulfills his punishment of Mia and Ethan and does justice to Walter's memory in heaven. But more importantly, he got his dignity and confidence back. Sophia has been by Oliver's side throughout this process. She has seen Oliver go from a betrayed and disillusioned man to a strong, decisive leader. She's proud of Oliver, and at the same time more certain of her feelings for him. As time passes, feelings grow between Oliver and Sophia. They have weathered this storm together, and their understanding and trust in each other is deeper than ever. Oliver begins to realize that Sophia is the one who truly understands and supports him. On a quiet evening, Oliver takes Sophia to the mountains of Colorado. In this beautiful natural setting, Oliver confides in Sophia. He thanked Sophia for her support during his most difficult time and expressed his love for her. Sophia readily accepts Oliver's confession of love, and the two embrace and kiss in the mountains, starting a new life together. Oliver decides to build a new home in this mountain forest to symbolize the beginning of their new life. Using his talents in software engineering, he designed a smart home system to modernize the mountain villa while keeping it in harmony with nature. Sophia, on the other hand, is responsible for the interior design, bringing her talent and taste to every corner. And so it was that Oliver and Sophia began their new life together in the beautiful mountains of Colorado. Their home became a symbol of love and hope and a starting point for their future together. Soon after, the news of Sophia's pregnancy brought even more joy to the family. Oliver is finally going to have a child of his own, and the news makes him feel incredibly happy and expectant. However, a happy life doesn't make Oliver forget the lessons of the past. He knew that to preserve this hard-won happiness, there was one last challenge to face: saying goodbye to the past once and for all. For all he knows, Mia may still come to him and try to re-involve herself in his life. Oliver needs to be prepared for the upcoming confrontation to protect his new family from harm. With Ethan and Randall in jail, Mia's life deteriorates. She lost all her financial resources and was forced to move into a small, dilapidated apartment and live beyond her means. The once shiny exterior is fading because of its inability to maintain it. She begins to realize that everything she holds dear, a lavish lifestyle, a place in high society, is a castle in the air built on lies and betrayal. In desperation, Mia begins to think about her situation. She thought back to her time with Oliver, when life wasn't as luxurious as it had been since, but at least it was real and warm. Remorse and longing mingle, and Mia decides she needs to find Oliver in hopes of salvaging the marriage she once disdained. After a lot of trouble, Mia finally learns of Oliver's whereabouts. She gathered her courage and traveled alone to the mountains of Colorado. When she sees the beautiful home Oliver and Sophia have built together, a pang of sadness wells up inside her. The ordinary man she once disliked is now living the life she always dreamed of. Mia took a deep breath and walked up and knocked on the door. It's Oliver who opens the door, and his expression quickly changes from surprise to indifference. Mia tried to squeeze out a smile and said in a shaky voice, "Oliver, it's been a long time. Can I talk to you?" Oliver was silent for a few moments, but eventually sidestepped and let Mia into the house. Sophia was in the kitchen and came out when she heard the commotion. When she saw Mia, there was a flash of alarm in her eyes, but she quickly regained her composure. Mia begins to speak of her remorse and pleads for Oliver's forgiveness. She cries about how much she regrets it and how if she could do it all over again, she would have cherished Oliver's love. However, Oliver's expression remained cold as ice. He listened to Mia's words quietly, then said calmly, "Mia, the past is the past. I have forgiven you, but that doesn't mean I will forget everything that happened. I'm happy now. I have someone who really loves me, and I'm about to have my own child. I hope you understand that there can't be anything more between us." Mia was thunderstruck. She had expected Oliver to go soft, to at least give her a chance. But at this moment she realized that she had lost the man forever. Just then, Sophia came forward and gently took Oliver's hand. She looked at Mia, her tone firm but calm. "Mia, I understand that you are in a difficult situation. While we can't accept your reentry into Oliver's life, we don't want to see you in a desperate situation." Oliver nodded and added, "I've arranged a job for you. It's not a high-paying position, but it's enough to keep you on the basics. It's the last thing I can do for you as the husband I once was." Mia looks at Oliver and Sophia in surprise. She hadn't expected her ex-husband and his new partner to be so magnanimous. For a moment, she felt both grateful and ashamed. However, Sophia's next words sobered Mia to the harshness of reality. Sophia said calmly but firmly, "Mia, I must warn you. This is your last chance. If you ever try to approach Oliver or hurt him again, I will not hesitate to take legal action to protect our family. I'm sure you don't want to face any more legal trouble." Mia looked at Sophia's determined eyes and realized that she meant every word she said. She realized that there was no turning back. Once she betrayed Oliver in her quest for luxury, and now she's lost everything, even the barest vestiges of dignity. Tears blurred Mia's vision. She took one last look at Oliver, the man who had loved her and been let down by her, now standing next to another woman, his face glowing with happiness. Mia finally realizes that she has lost Oliver forever and the happy future that could have been hers. "I understand," Mia whispered, "and thank you for your generosity. I promise that I will not intrude on your lives ever again." With that, she turned and left the home she had once dreamed of, but now could never hope to reach. Watching Mia's forlorn back disappear into the hills, Oliver breathes a long sigh of relief. He turned and embraced Sophia, feeling the warmth of her body heat and her slightly rumbling belly. He knew that true happiness was just around the corner, in this loving home. As time passes, Oliver and Sophia's life becomes more and more beautiful. Their twin boys were born, bringing endless joy to the family. Oliver has successfully managed the company he inherited from his grandfather and developed it into an industry leader. Sophia, on the other hand, has continued her design career while taking care of her family, winning several prestigious awards. Their home became the envy of their friends. It is always filled with laughter during the holidays. Oliver and Sophia loved each other deeply and infused their children with that love. Their marriage serves as a wonderful example of how even through betrayal and hurt, true love still exists and can overcome all odds. Mia, on the other hand, begins her new life after accepting a job arranged by Oliver. Although the work was hard and the income was meager, she slowly found the meaning of life. She began to reflect on what she had done in the past and tried to become a better person. While she can never make up for the damage she did to Oliver, she's determined not to make the same mistake again. Years later, when Mia stumbles across a picture of Oliver and Sophia's happy and prosperous family in the news, there is no longer jealousy or resentment in her eyes, but heartfelt blessings. She realized that this was the best lesson life had taught her, that true love and an honest life were far more to be cherished than illusory luxuries. In the end, everyone got what they deserved. Oliver and Sophia continue to write their happily ever after in each other's company. Mia has lost everything she once had, but has been given a chance to be a new person. Ethan and Randall pay for their crimes in prison. This story, in its own unique way, illustrates a timeless theme. Honesty, trust, and true love are the foundation of happiness, while greed and betrayal will eventually reap the consequences. In the journey of life, everyone is faced with choices that ultimately shape our destiny. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have a story to share about your own or someone else's experience, please feel free to contact me. Take care.